The rivalry between Dricus du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev keeps getting more and more intense, and the two fighters are back at it, going after each other once again. With the fight set for UFC 319, the tension has gone way past the usual limits, and has fully entered the territory of psychological warfare. On one side, we have a confident, determined, and provocative champion. On the other, a wild beast with a terrifying track record inside the octagon and a hunger for destruction that knows no bounds. Stick around to hear exactly the chilling message Dricus du Plessis sent to Khamzat Chimaev, and also what the Chechen had to say about the champ, comments that seriously shook up the MMA world. And to make things even crazier, big names like Sean Strickland and Chael Sonnen jumped in on the conversation, and instead of cooling things down, they just threw more fuel on the fire. But first, if you can, help me hit the subscriber goal. Thank you so much. Let's start with the champ himself, Dricus du Plessis, who didn't just send a message to Khamzat Chimaev, he dropped a full-on threat to his future opponent. Not afraid at all of the division's boogeyman, the South African stood his ground and said this: "I don't care how good you think you are, how tough, how fit, or how strong. When you step into that octagon with me, it will be a first-time experience and not a pleasant one. That's a promise. They don't know what we know. Prepare to be amazed again." And Dricus didn't stop there. After that strong statement, the South African responded to a provocation from Khamzat Chimaev, who mocked the champions team, and Dricus simply fired back with the following comment: "Oh shit, I would get you." But there's no inbred emoji. This statement from the South African drove the fans wild, and some are even starting to call Dricus the king of trash talk, claiming that it's impossible for the champion to lose any war of words in his beefs. Dricus heads into this fight carrying the belt and a recent streak of brutal performances. He's already proven that even with his awkward, unorthodox style, it works, and it works against the very best fighters in the world. And with that statement, he's pretty much saying that Khamzat has never faced anyone like him. The tone is direct, intimidating, and above all, full of confidence. Dricus doesn't just believe he's going to win. He promises to turn the fight into a traumatic experience for Chimaev. "Get ready to be surprised. Again," he says, making it clear that the show is far from over. But Dricus isn't the only one throwing threats and dropping controversial statements. None other than Sean Strickland also decided to speak out. And as always, Strickland has zero filter, zero sugarcoating, and absolutely no concern about being politically correct. Just listen to what he said. "You know what's hard? Those little Chechen they can grapple. Someone like me, I've been training these for years, I usually could counter-wrestle and grapple them. So I just don't know if Dricus can be able to counter-wrestle him. But if he can, I think he wins, all hands down. I sparred. The Chechen war. Hands down, I think Dricus wins. It's just gonna come down to, are you gonna be able to stop that and counter-wrestle him? You can. It's not hard. I've been training these old terrorists my forever, so it's like, I just gotta know how to do it." Despite the harsh language, Strickland is actually giving the champ a vote of confidence. He breaks the fight down into a simple equation. If Dricus can shut down Khamzat's wrestling and takedowns, he wins. It's a massive if, especially considering Chimaev's insane grappling and world-class wrestling, but coming from someone who's trained with guys like that for years, the opinion carries weight. Strickland isn't saying it'll be easy, but he's saying it's totally possible. And that just adds even more unpredictability to this fight. And someone else who dove deep into analyzing this absolute war was Chael Sonnen, one of the sport's most respected analysts. Sonnen brought an interesting strategic perspective and raised key questions about Chimaev's game. Check out what he said. "How is he going to beat him? I am not fully confident that Chimaev can take him down at will. I'm not fully confident. He can keep him there. We're going to know in the very first round. If Dricus gets taken down in the first round, things are going to unravel very quickly. But if he can defend a takedown for the entire first 5 minutes, it's only going to get easier after that. It's an exciting match. I would expect Chimaev to be the favorite, and he is. Rainier Derrida has trained with both of them, and he said there's going to be an early storm by Chimaev, but he believes Dricus can sustain the storm and each passing. Minute favors Dricus. Now, what he's talking about there is conditioning. If you ask me about that fight 2 years ago or a year ago, even 6 months ago, I would have quickly dismissed it and tell you Chimaev every single round, but I don't feel that way anymore. I feel and I'm seeing what other people are feeling and seeing, the greatness of Dricus. It's something that's now not only witnessed, but recognized. Sonnen points to round 1 as the biggest thermometer for this fight. If Dricus can survive Chimaev's explosive start, the fight flips completely in his favor. He also highlights how much the champ has evolved and how he's earning real respect, even from those who once dismissed him because of his weird, awkward fighting style that some called bad or predictable. Plus, Sonnen brings up an interesting detail. Renier Derrida, who trained with both men, believes that time itself will be Dricus' biggest ally. And Sonnen, who used to be skeptical, now clearly sees the greatness of Dricus, ready to take down one of the most feared fighters in the middleweight division. But as if all this technical breakdown and trash talk weren't enough, Sonnen also touched on the backstage drama surrounding the fight. According to him, Dricus believes Chimaev might not even make it to the octagon based on a joke floating around about how the Chechen has pulled out of fights last minute before. Dricus took the post that says Imavov will be backup fighter, and Dricus took that as an announcement that in Chicago later this year he will be defending his title against Imavov, because he believes that Chimaev, who has a history of pulling out of fights, is going to stay true to form and pull out of the fight. That's a little bit of a false rumor, that whole idea that Chimaev has had to pull out of a bunch of fights. When the pandemic hit, Chimaev never thought he was going to fight again. He was on a ventilator. In extreme cases such as that, I don't know that 5 years later we stick around and use that to pierce the veil of this guy's immaculate credibility. This part shows that Dricus is also playing the psychological game. He looks at the Imavov backup announcement as the perfect chance to throw some shade, mocking the idea that Khamzat is going to pull out yet again like he has before. Sonnen, on the other hand, tries to balance things out by reminding everyone that Chimaev's past includes a fight for his life during the pandemic. But that doesn't stop the ducking narrative from catching fire. In the UFC, even someone's medical history can become ammo. With all these elements, trash talk, technical analysis, doubts, and threats, the fight between Dricus du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 319 is without a doubt one of the most anticipated matchups of the year. And it's not just about the belt. What's at stake here is reputation, legacy, and the chance to prove who truly is the most dominant fighter in the division. Dricus comes in with the confidence of a man who believes the world hasn't seen everything he's capable of, and he's ready to tame an absolute beast, the UFC's boogeyman. On the other side, Khamzat Chimaev carries the pressure of living up to the expectations he built for himself by smashing his opponents like a hurricane right from the opening bell. But will the champ actually be able to survive that early storm? And the monstrous strength of the Chechen? Can Khamzat impose his pace without leaving openings and hold up if the fight drags into the later rounds? Let me know down in the comments who you think wins this fight. And hey, if you're truly a fan of MMA and you like staying on top of everything happening in the fight world, you definitely need to check out these other 2 videos popping up on the screen right now. Both are super important, and I guarantee you'll enjoy them and stay well informed on all the latest MMA news. If you liked this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a like to help push the content out there. I'll catch you in the next one.